I'm joined now by Raazia Ganie at the IRFA 2025 conference. Raazia is representing the CFA Society as well as NMG Benefits in her role as head of investments. Raazia, perhaps we could start off by just talking a little about the CFA Society and why they are represented here.
Thanks very much. Thanks, Leon. Thank you for having me. Yes, so I am a board member on the CFA Society of South Africa. And of course, the CFA is trying its utmost to reach out to all, I suppose, the value chain of people that interact with investments. So predominantly, we're known to interact with the asset managers, but we actually want to start reaching out more to trustees because we've got quite a number of really important initiatives and certificates which we believe could be ideal for trustees, just to give you that foundation in investments. So in particular, we have a course called the Investment Foundation Certificate, which at the minute is actually going at a special rate for South Africans. And it's actually one of the best things that you can do as a trustee to really get into that investment committee meeting and feel properly empowered.
So these are training courses for trustees, but a bit more than a course. It's an actual qualification.
It's an actual certificate. You get a certificate that formally says, look, you've done this and you understand that. And really, it's actually important because it means that trustees will firstly, they'll understand what's going on in those meetings, but they have something that shows that they've done this, for posterity. So I think it's really important. We have other courses as well, topical things like the sustainability certificate, private equity courses. So for investment professionals who may want to start learning more about private equity, who's been on the long only side, it's perfect. So there's quite a number of really interesting ones going at the moment. And we also have things like the Pension Fund Trustees Code of Conduct, which we also think is perfect for any board to actually adopt those principles and just, it gives you that increased level of governance.
Speak to me a little bit about you use the word sustainability. So
Yes.
What is sustainability relative to impact, the new buzzwords?
Yeah. So interestingly, the sustainability certificate used to be called the ESG certificate. And they've changed it now to sustainability. It's really just because it's broader and encompasses all of those underlying principles. And I think, look, if you're being sustainable, you're very likely having an impact. So, the two go hand in hand. But yeah, in this context, it's essentially ESG, but almost a broader set of principles encompassed in there.
And in your role as an investment consultant advising pension funds, how do you view sustainability, ESG impact as part of the, call it the responsibility, role or opportunity that pension funds have?
Yeah, I think it's quite a big responsibility on trustees. It's also something that's very new to a lot of trustees. So we're doing a lot of education. We have workshops, responsible investment workshops. We take trustees through a whole process of trying to unpack what their responsible investing beliefs are, what is actually possible in their realm of the world that they're in right now, so that we don't make it unreasonable. You want to have a carbon neutral portfolio right away. It's impossible to do that, to go that far immediately. So we try to take trustees on this journey with us. It's absolutely part of the process. We incorporate it in everything that we do. Regulation 28 obviously also insists that you consider ESG factors, but we actually go further than that. We go through a process with our trustees to figure out what their beliefs are for these areas, and then to actually action it in a kind of a practical manner that is doable, rather than, we say we're going to do this within 6 months and, 5 years down the line, nothing happened.
No, fair enough. And when it comes to private markets, where I suppose you can achieve, call it greater impact given the nature of it.
Yeah.
Your views in terms of liquidity risk, pricing risk, all of those things, are these all over, what's the right word? Are they mitigating factors or can they be overcome?
Look, I think they probably can be overcome. With the private market space, there's a lot more governance that needs to go into it. You need to actually follow those processes, make sure you're doing all the right due diligences up front, because once you're locked in, you're there for the long term. So that's absolutely essential. But liquidity is an issue. Liquidity, I think, especially for smaller funds, it becomes problematic because when a member leaves, they need to actually liquidate some other assets because they can't liquidate the private markets assets. So I think in smaller funds it could be problematic, but they can manage that depending on how they do things. They can either put in place some rules around those funds, whether they actually will liquidate them immediately or give members some sort of period. So you might get 95% of your assets immediately and 5% later, which is something that's quite common abroad, but doesn't really happen in South Africa. So I think it may be very useful if the regulator or other industry bodies actually come out with some guidance on how to deal with these liquidity issues.
So I hear you, but at the end of the day, it's long-term savings. So it's the terms we should be able to deal with despite
Yes.
short-term liquidity requirements.
I think that's true on your retirement pot, but on your vested pot where you can still withdraw it, it's not as true, and on your savings pot. So if your administrator can have a different strategy for savings and retirement, it's entirely possible.
Yeah.
But if you cannot, then you're going to struggle, And I think most administrators were using the same strategy and set up the systems in that way to have an identical strategy for retirement and savings, which made sense. It still makes sense. But if you're going to go the illiquid route or have these illiquids and they become a large portion of your fund, then you're going to struggle. So if you think about funds in the UK or the US, where they have maybe up to 30% in private markets, they never have to worry about liquidity because no one can access that. Mm-hmm. Your 401k is there until you retire, and that's it. Mm-hmm. So I think we need to just think around how we get around those issues in particular. There could be just rules around it. Maybe if you're in an infrastructure fund, you get quarterly liquidity because of the income that they get in. Maybe you make your fund a quarterly liquidity fund. Then it will actually take care of the problem as long as members are aware that we're not getting our money in the middle of the quarter.
Well, it's great to hear you thinking about these factors because it's so important that we solve for this in order to ultimately create the opportunity for customers, but also to help grow South Africa.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, everybody's talking about infrastructure. We know that it's important. We know that we need it. But we must make sure that practically it can be done without pension funds getting into a big mess and trustees having to think about additional issues. So we definitely are thinking about it, not least of all because firstly we have clients, but also, as part of an administration business, we see the challenges on that end as well.
Okay. So you're here at the IRFA conference for 2 days. Are there any particular talks you're looking forward to?
Yes, I'm actually interestingly looking forward to the administrator talk around technology and AI and how they're incorporating that, because I think there's a lot of strides have been made in technology these days, and not a lot has been done on the administration side to upgrade systems. A lot of administrators are literally using the system they put in place, in the 90s. So I think that will be very interesting. And then obviously the infrastructure and governance sessions are always interesting. So hope to hear some new things coming out of there.
Okay, well, good. Well, I wish you all the best, and I do also encourage you to attend the EBnet virtual conference from the 6th until the 10th of October.
Okay.
The whole theme is around AI and technology in the
perfect.
retirement space. So you'll be able to see some quite innovative new news coming through.
Right up our alley then. Thank you. Thanks,
good.
Leon.
So thanks very much for joining us, and we wish you a good conference.
My pleasure. Thank you.